Let's move into part 3 of our walkthrough of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, coming right up. Hey everyone, my name's Austin, and this channel is all about helping you to dig deeper and go further to better understand faith, film, and everything in between. If that is exciting to you and you are new here, consider subscribing. I put out new videos every week. We are now in part 3, and I think I finally have a name that I really like for this series going forward. We're going to call it The Lord of the Rings is the Best, and Here's Why. In the last video on this series, we discussed Gandalf's arrival in the Shire as well as his reunion with Bilbo. And now, moving into part 3, we will be continuing to talk about The Lord of the Rings and why it's the best. It is now time for Bilbo's 111th birthday party, and during this time we are introduced to some new characters that we will be following throughout the rest of the movies. This includes Merry and Pippin, and not only are they comic relief throughout these movies, they really go in some interesting directions and really cool depths, which we will be getting to in future videos. We're at Bilbo's birthday party, everyone is enjoying dancing, ale, fireworks, all these fun things. And then as the night continues on, the party starts to wind down and Bilbo is asked to make a speech. He thanks everyone for coming and then confuses them with one of the most clever lines ever written. He then finishes his speech with a disappearing act with a magic ring. He then reappears back at Bag End to find Gandalf waiting for him. Gandalf confronts him about the ring, to which he responds he intends to leave it to Frodo when he leaves the Shire. And Bilbo becomes defensive. He claims that the ring is his and no one else's, and Gandalf is just trying to keep it for himself. Gandalf responds by reminding him that he is his friend and wants to help him. This is a good reminder to us that the ring, being the representation of sin, as I mentioned in I believe the first video in this series, can corrupt even the kindest of hearts. It can make us say, do, and think things that we would never expect or even mean to say. Then when Bilbo goes to leave, Gandalf asks for the ring for Frodo, noticing he still has it. When Bilbo finally does leave, he drops the ring on the floor, and I love the effects that they use to really convey the magnitude of this powerful ring. I know in the behind the scenes, if you watch the behind the scenes footage, they explain how they have obviously a weighted ring and they had a magnet beneath the floor so that when it fell, they really got that effect of how heavy of a burden this is that he's dropping. It didn't bounce or spin or twirl around or anything, it just fell with a thud. And it's little details like that that really enhance the story and give the ring itself its own characteristics. Frodo then walks in not long after Bilbo has left, while Gandalf is contemplating the things that transpired between his and Bilbo's conversation, walks in the front door and picks up the ring. And it's a really neat way of introducing Frodo to the ring because he just nonchalantly walks in and picks it up. And again, it's a really neat representation of how easy it is to walk into sin without even realizing it. We then see Gandalf realize that Frodo has now taken the ring and tells him keep it secret and keep it safe. And he leaves to go find out what he can about the ring to discover whether or not, as we now know, this is the one ring that Sauron created. We then briefly see Gandalf as he travels to Minas Tirith to do his research and find out about the ring, and then after he discovers that this is the Ring of Power, we see that the ring wraiths, or the 9 servants of Sauron, are now on their way to the Shire as they have discovered from Gollum, who has been tortured for this information of who has the ring. They discover it and are now on their way to the Shire to find the one who has the ring. So, Gandalf then returns to the Shire to ask Frodo where the ring is to make sure it's safe, and that is when he reveals to him that this is the one ring of power created by Sauron, taken by Isildur, and then taken by Gollum and inherited all the way down to Bilbo, who now has given it to Frodo. Frodo, in a panic, tries to give the ring to Gandalf, who refuses by saying, "Don't tempt me, Frodo. I dare not take it, even to keep it safe." He then explains how he would intend to use the ring for good, but because of what the ring is and what it represents and the evil that it is to its very core, it would through him do terrible things. Gandalf then tasks Frodo with taking the ring out of the Shire. We then officially meet Samwise, who has been eavesdropping or dropping some eaves on their conversation, and because of this, Gandalf tasks Sam with keeping Frodo safe, ensuring their journey goes well. Gandalf plans to meet up with them at the Prancing Pony Inn. He wants to seek counsel from Saruman, and so he says, you go here, I'll go here, and we will meet up at the Prancing Pony Inn. I'm going to jump a minute or two to when Frodo and Sam are about to cross the furthest point that Sam has been from home. Sam stops and hesitates, and Frodo asks, what is it? And he says, this is it. One more step and it'll be the furthest away from home I've ever been. Frodo taps him on the shoulder to encourage him, saying, come on, Sam. Remember what Bilbo used to say. It's dangerous business, Frodo, going out your front door. You step onto the road, and if you don't watch your feet, there's no telling where you'll be swept off to. This is another one of my favorite lines in the movie because it's a really cool perspective for life. And you may think like, well, keep your feet. Well, does that mean like look far ahead for this journey to like remember the destination? No, I think what it means is, look to your feet and your steps. So each and every step matters. You're not necessarily looking at the end of the journey, but focus on each step along the way and what that means and how that affects you and your own story that you're building throughout your life. See your journey along the way, planning each step and following that path that's laid out for you. So now, as we will talk about in the next video, Gandalf is off to meet Saruman, and Frodo and Sam are nearing closer to my favorite character in these movies. If you've seen them, you obviously know who I'm talking about coming up soon, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. Again, we are now officially titling this series, The Lord of the Rings is the Best, and here's why. So going forward, I would love to have you join me. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, and this is your first encounter with the videos that I share, and you've enjoyed this, you are in the right place. Please subscribe to my channel, and I would love to have you join in the conversation and all the things that we talk about here. And if you are looking to dig deeper and go further to better understand faith, film, and everything in between, you're in the right place. I will see you in the next video.